Hi everyone, welcome to a short video showing a little bit about how the game called Order and Opportunity, Making of the Post-Cold War World Order plays. This is on GMT Games P500 list right at the moment. What you are looking at is non-final playtest art, so this is from the game's Vassal module. The game is for 1 to 4 players, with a dedicated solitaire system included. And so what you are looking at today is as an ongoing playtest game that I'm playing in the solitaire mode. And but even if you are not interested in the solitaire mode as such, I think what you will see in this series of videos is of interest to you as well. It demonstrates a lot of the things about the basic gameplay of this game, even if you're not playing in the solitaire mode. So without further ado, let's just start playing. So what we do first is we look at the order of play track here on the bottom right. This shows the order of play. We've got 4 factions. We've got the Russians, green, that's my side that I'm playing. I've got my partner side, the Chinese. We are partners as the authoritarian powers, and then we've got 2 democracies, the United States blue and the EU yellow. So we start with Russia, and we take the cylinder, move it down here to the action phase, onto the action phase track, and we go through the steps of the action phase, and they look like this. So development, we draw from the development draw deck. Let's see what we get. We get a neutral action card. This is one of those, as the icon here on the top left corner says, execute and discard. So we execute the text of it. I will not read through the text of the card. I just show you what it does. So basically the neutral white octagon, neutral influence here we can think of it maybe as the Taliban. Here is the Taliban world event in space, acts against one random opponent. Well, not entirely random. The opponent will be the one with most total levels of influence. So that's the US. They've got triangular economic influence in there as well as political, whereas the Russians and the EU only have 1 level of political influence each. I can zoom in a little bit to show you. So each space has an influence track of, you can see here in China, for instance, a little bit better. So 1, 2, 3, and up to 4 levels of influence. The 5th and the 6th level are for recording the level of tension. And so we go and resolve the card as follows. It's a die roll based check, and the US will be targeted, and the US gets to roll 2. As a non-player side, they roll the die twice. The neutrals roll once, and we add the levels of the influence there. So the neutrals will roll a white die and get a 5. The US rolls now, so altogether it's 5 plus 2 levels, so 7. And the US will roll a 4, and then they get the second try, see if it's higher. It's also a 4. The US will lose one of the influence. Let's determine a random influence. Economic is 1, 2, 3, and no, it's the political influence that they lose. So we drop it here onto the US player mat. As a result, also tension will increase in the space. Okay, that was the development card. We discard it. We move into the opportunity phase. Here you can resolve a so-called opportunity token, and I've already played 1 round. You can see on the round track we are on the 2nd round now, and during the 1st round I did set up the Russians to resolve this opportunity marker here. The marker shows which type of influence can be used to resolve it. It shows the shape of the piece as well as the levels of influence needed to resolve. So this can be resolved with economic, the triangular piece, or with political influence, the octagonal piece. And now we've got 3 levels here, which is also outnumbers the influence of any other power individually, so we are well in position to resolve this. We drag it over here. What's the benefit of resolving this? I will show you a little bit later on. And we replace the resolved opportunity immediately with another one. Let's see what this says here. South Asia, and South Asia, the slot there is free indeed, so we can just drop that one in there. All right, we move into the commands step, and this is the heart of your turn in the game. For that purpose, let's open the Russian hand window, and we can see the cards the Russians hold in their hand. So we've got 2 cultural action cards. So the icon here with the masks is the cultural action icon. This is the economic action icon with the factory, and then finally the Russians got 2 shield icons. So this is the security action icon. There is also, in addition, a political action suit, so 4 suits altogether in the game. Political suit looks like a man in a suit, if you like, diplomat. And so for the Russians, what you do at the start of your command phase is you nominate the suit, and then you can play any number of cards of that suit. I'm going to nominate the cultural action suit, and I play these cards. They get sent onto the map over here, and now I can use this card. So basically there are 2 ways of using each card that you play. You can use it for the suit itself and then take a corresponding action. There are 3 different kinds of cultural actions, for example, or I can use a card for its event effect, and the events are here marked with E for event, and then the text that follows. We won't go in too much detail about this. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this card here for its suit. And during a previous turn, I was lucky enough to be able to place this card here onto the map. Moscow sponsors talks. So I can trigger this event by playing a mask icon cultural action card, which I've just indeed done. So I trigger the event of this on-map card to resolve a world event where I fulfill the conditions as the event text says. And such a world event is here in the Baltic states. This is the Bronze Knight event. The rules here are you need to have at least 2 levels of influence, pretty similar to the opportunity counters. You have to have 2 levels of influence, and depending on what type of influence you have and use to resolve the world event, you get the corresponding bonus. So the Russians will use political influence, and therefore get 2p, as it says here on the card, so 2 political influence. So let's do that. So we use this card, we trigger its effect, so it's discarded. This card is also discarded because it's resolved, and then the Russians will collect here 2 agenda point tokens. There's more information in a number of Inside GMT articles that I've published on the game, so you can have a look there for details as to what agenda points are and so on. I'm not going to spend time here to do that. So we discard the world event, and we keep those cards there for the time being. So yes, that's the first card played. We've still got the second one. With this, I'm going to place tension onto the map, and let's play it for the cultural action that places tension. Whenever you take an action, you select the space or track, and you have to pay the space selection or track selection cost, which is always 1 resource. So I pay 1 resource here on the records track, and I select Central Asia, increase tension by 1 there. Tension will eventually affect the space's governance type, which at the moment is yellow, kind of neutral governance, in one direction you can take it to authoritarian, which is this red marker here in China, or democratic, which is an example of which is here in the Baltic states, a blue marker. And what the shifts in that regard mean is the War of Ideas track will be shifted accordingly. So should Central Asia shift to authoritarian, for example, we would shift the War of Ideas marker one step towards the authoritarian end, which is the lock symbol, and eventually when the track shifts far enough we start earning VPs. So that's the purpose of me increasing tension over there. That's the Russian turn already. I have the option now of discarding the opportunity that I've just resolved to get a second chance of nominating a suit and playing an action, and we will do that. We will discard this and get a second chance to play something. So we will nominate, let's nominate this time the economic card. I will play it and I will use it here in Eastern Europe to increase the Russian influence by 1. Again, I have to pay the space selection cost like this. Okay, and then the last thing remaining to do is, of those cards that I have played, I will get to place 1 onto the map in a free so-called event slot. These are these slots over here on the sides of the map. These there are 2 for each region. So Asia is a region, for instance, comprising those 4 spaces. So I will just place this card here into Europe. It will give me a so-called react ability, which can be quite useful. We will get to see that later on. And I finally discard these cards that I have played or otherwise made use of, moving into the planning phase. So this is where we get to the game's deck building aspect. So here on the top row of my hand you can see cards that are in my hand, and here are the cards that I can, so to speak, plan and include in my first in my discard pile, and then eventually into my draw deck, from where they will come into my hand in a fairly standard deck building mechanic. So let me just grab one of these. I will not talk in too much detail about this, but I will just take that card and then I will draw my hand back up to 5 cards, and that's the hand going into the next round. And yeah, so I already did the refilling part of this. So that concludes the Russian turn already, and this video as well. I will return in a second video to play the Chinese turn. So thanks a lot for your attention. See you soon.